How is it different, do you think, to run the CBA compared to the other banks, given that it was, publicly owned, given that, a third of Australians have accounts or relationships with the bank, given that we all did Commonwealth Bank school banking and had the old money boxes? I mean, it's kind of an iconic institution, isn't it? Does it change your role and the way you have to approach your role because of that history?
I'm a huge believer in the importance of me and our people really understanding the history. And I had the huge fortune again of 2 weeks after I started in the role in December 2011 was the centenary celebration. And there was a wonderful celebration at the Hordern Pavilion. And it was started with a kind of walk through the years of the Commonwealth Bank's history. And the way I've described it is that I was walking through that with Frances, my wife, going through into the dinner. All I could hear was these voices saying, "Do not stuff up this institution." In a real, there's all the history. And you take these jobs and you look at Sir Denison Miller, who was the first governor in 1911, and for all the complaining we do about how tough life is, his boys were at war while he was the governor. One of them died while he's the governor of the Commonwealth Bank. When you see that history, when you see people working in the bank who have been in the bank longer than I've been alive, you get this fabulous appreciation for the history of the institution and the fact that it was the Reserve Bank and it was government owned, and that does create different franchise benefits and a higher degree of scrutiny on certain things, and we embrace both of them.
What do you mean by a higher degree of scrutiny? How are you held to a higher standard than your peers?
I'm not sure it's a higher standard, but I think, number one, just for the nature of the float, we've got 800,000 households who own the bank and millions more through their pension funds. So we're owned by everyone.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Right?
Story of my life.
You know this well. And we're owned by everyone, and I think even people who don't own us feel like they've got a stake in the Commonwealth Bank, because many people still have this kind of feeling it's still sort of a piece of public property. And that is a net positive. We've had enormous benefits from that, so we can't complain about it, but I think it does create a different view of, gosh, the Commonwealth Bank's done that, they shouldn't have, or gosh, it's good the Commonwealth Bank's done that, but that's part and parcel of the terrific organisation we've got.
One of the great, I think, complexities I can think of when you look at your role, there's enormous scrutiny of the bank on a daily basis. I mean, every night Alan Kohler is giving your share price. There's the expectation, because of 800,000 owners, it's important news to them. There's that expectation of meeting and exceeding analysts' expectations and in your half-year results. But at the same time, you've got to be steering this organisation through a remarkable transformation with really quite a long-term thinking and planning going on. You talk a bit about how you balance in your work the short-term operational pressures and demands versus the longer-term transformational challenges that you face.
In the way I think about it and we think about it, there's a very clear structure of it, which is the short term is a constraint and the long term is the goal. In other words, we never try and maximize short-term performance. We try and maximize long-term performance. But we understand that if every 6 months you deliver decent outcomes, you just keep confidence, and confidence is everything in a financial institution. So we have this balance between really wanting to drive the organisation for the long term, but understanding that to keep the confidence, the ongoing results need to be good. I think, we've got budgets and we've got all those sorts of things that everyone has, but I don't see that as a major source of stress for the organisation. And I have to say, my view as CEO, I know the board's view is, and I know David thinks the same way about the ANZ. If we're going to be shot for making short-term compromises in exchange for long-term value, let me be shot for that. And that's got to be your mindset.